is on fire at the moment. He'll start from up the front.
Yeah, he's certainly looking good. I mean, championship leader at the moment. And doesn't look like backing off either, you know, like he looks really strong. Ryle Harris, second in the championship, is really struggling at the moment, which is a big surprise to me.
Yeah, he's not had any car speed for the last couple of rounds. Stephen White's qualified 19th, which is a long way further back than he's been in the last few rounds. But that car was 50-50 to be here this weekend, earlier in the week when I spoke to him after it crashed in the last race up at Bathurst. So it's great to have him back. Stephen Wilson takes over the Fonzie Mullen car this weekend, and Leighton Barker there down the back, Tasmanian, returns to the championship. That's a shame. That's Ben Dunn. And that car is being taken out of the way. Now, this was actually yesterday. Matt Nolan, the Sigweld Commodore, got it wrong at the first chicane, and those little bits in the middle of the curb do damage. Have a look at this. Oops. That's not how to go through turn one.
No, absolutely just tears that right rear off the car. Obviously, it's a live axle in these cars, and that's done a lot of damage. That's a whole diff housing there.
And that brought out a red flag in qualifying. He was able to at least qualify 24th, but yeah, he's actually a former Aussie jet ski champion, not the sort of skiing he was looking for. But Cedars on pole, third pole of the season. The Ford is coming on strong. You can see on the bonnet there, Salvation Army bushfire appeal. He's getting behind obviously the dramas of the bushfires in New South Wales. Yep. He is from New South Wales, and his family are based in the area under threat. So yep, it's a cause very close to him as well. Call 13-SALVOS. That's 137258, or go to the website salvos.org.au. They do a stunning job. You can also donate at any Woolies store, Westpac branch or Target outlet. So get behind those people who really need some help. Now, this is the Auto One on board with Matt Nolan. He's okay. He's good to go after that drama earlier on the weekend that we just showed you. Craig Donis, Thirsty Camel Commodore, has been going okay lately, but he's 15th on the grid for this one. Cam Wilson won a race here last year, so he knows his way around here. He's qualified 13th. So let's get underway. Championship's on the line, and David Cedars is in the right spot on the grid. Ryle Harris is back in 7th. Nathan Pretty is 3rd in the points, 3rd on the grid as we get set for this first race of the weekend in the V8 Utes on the Gold Coast. Penultimate round, title on the line. Cedars, the perennial bridesmaid, gets it going. Slow away in the background there. That's Gary Baxter, who was 14th on the grid. I think he's about 24th now, though. Down to turn one, and Reece McNally on the front row of the grid for the first time in the Stratco Commodore, but he's had to yield. Nathan Pretty's through.
Oh, a big touch there, Ryle Harris. Straight into the back of Barber, Elliot Barber there.
I think more cars cut the chicane than took it. That's why Ryan Hansford off the road and spun at the first chicane. And they all managed to get on by. That's a real shame for him. Back on board with Nolan. Moving and a grooving. That's how they do it in the V8 Ute Series. But out front, Cedars leads the way. Then Pretty, then McNally. Chris Walton next on the scene. And since we saw him, he was excluded from the last race at Bathurst for a suspension infringement. So he's dropped some points. There's Stephen White in that repaired Commodore from Bathurst that I mentioned earlier.
He's got a problem there. He's gone through there on purpose. But Cedars got the start. I wouldn't be surprised if Cedars actually starts driving away from Nathan Pretty here. He's been looking really solid every practice session. Qualifying, I mean, qualifying was close, just over a 10th back to Reece McNally, but he just looks like he's comfortable around here this weekend. He looks like he's got the eyes on. He looks very determined to get that championship win.
He's been, as I mentioned, the runner-up the last 2 years in a row. He'd love nothing more than to trade in the number 2 for the number 1. But would you believe he's actually only won a handful of races this year? He's only won 2 coming into this weekend. He's been mega consistent. That's Walton straight ahead. Elliot Barber as well, the rookie of the year points leader, cuts through. Andrew Fisher cuts as well. It's probably easy to actually name the ones who didn't cut than did.
Excuse me, Ryle Harris says. Straight to the back of Barber there at middle of turn 4.
So Cedars out in front, remember, championship leader, and a guy who here, oh, this is drama. Now, this is Matt Nolan trying to get into his pit bay.
That doesn't look good. That sounded to me like it didn't have any sort of drive.
Now, this car's actually run as a team car, part of the Murphy Racing squad.
Back there.
There's Baxter going nowhere. Slow away and finally got rolling on the rear spares replay.
I wonder if he did a Shane Van Gisn and forgot to put it in first.
Has happened before.
Sorry, Shane.
No, you're not. And now look for Ryan Hansford. He's there. Bang. Oh, there's the tap. That was with Stephen White. That's why Stephen White is limping around, because that was pretty hefty contact. That's George Mediki up the inside in the 25 car. He's taken over from Tony Longhurst, who had his last race ever at Bathurst a fortnight ago.
Here we go.
And that's Kim Jane.
Oh, look at that. He just pulls it back before the tyre wall.
And Kim's coming off a couple of wins up at Bathurst, but there's Hansford heading towards the wall. Look at the bottom of shot. There he goes. And that's why everyone goes through the chicane or to the right. And this is further back in the pack. This is Gary Baxter.
Oh, there
and that's why Nolan's got damage. He was trying to get a move sorted and done. I think that was Rowan Barry in the 11 car, the Jack Ellsgood car. Wouldn't be a ute race on the Gold Coast without some form of drama, but David Cedars is staying clear of it.
And it's not going to be the last we see, I dare say, in this race. They always put on a sensational show, the utes here on the Gold Coast.
It's a bit of a marquee event for them too, Stevie, because it's their 100th championship round, the 10th time that the Ute Series has been on the Gold Coast. McNally, tell you what, he's been the quiet achiever of this championship so far this year. He's really not been the man who's been winning races and taking all the limelight, but he's in the game. He's in the championship picture. If Pretty, Cedars, Harris have dramas, he's right in there.
Well, he's I guess, edged himself forward now to, you know, he is a contender at the front every weekend, you know. Like, he was obviously middle pack and he'd have a good run here and there. He had his breakthrough win at Perth this year, and he's just gone leaps and bounds from there. So every weekend now, you're going to see Cedars, you're going to see McNally, you're going to see, you know, all these guys, Chris Walton, Royal Harris, you know, they're always up the front, and he's with them now. So which is, you know, a great effort for him. You can just see him get better and better as the year's gone on.
There's Nolan back on the road and parking it out of the way as the leaders approach. That's Royal Harris at the tail of the lead pack of the #1 car, the reigning champion. He's just struggled for car speed. He's just really not had the pace in the last few rounds. And I had a look at his car at the start of practice yesterday while they were all lined up in the dummy grid area. And on the inside of the steering wheel says one word: think. Probably the best word you could use when you're fighting for a championship and it's not going your way. You've got to think your way through it.
You just never know what is going to happen here. You know, Rolls, you know, back there in 6th spot. Oh, big lock up from Walton. Just pulls it up behind McNally. But, you know, Rolls sitting there in 6th. He doesn't need to panic. It's not all bad. Yeah, sure, his championship contender is out front. There's a lot more racing to go here on the streets of the Gold Coast. And if it does finish this way, which I'm pretty sure it won't, there is a reverse grid race. And anything can happen. So,
and it's a 3-race format. Will bring you another race
into the back of each other.
That's if we've got any cars left. This is a good fight. McNally and Walton. Elliot Barber, who, as I mentioned, is leading the way for the Rookie of the Year award, where the winner will get a test in either the Erebus V8 Supercar or their great GT3 SLS coupe.
Maybe I should have had a crack at the ute. I wouldn't mind driving the GT SLS.
I could think of worse things to do.
Here we go. There's a couple here that have got a good run up the inside. Oh, Harris, does he have a go?
Ooh,
Barber shuts the door.
Careful, careful. Remember, he was penalised at Sandown 2 rounds ago for a move that didn't go right, and it cost him some points. He's back to 2nd coming into this round. And remember, the Ute Series, they give championship points for qualifying as well as the 3 races. So a pole is worth just as much as a race win.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's obviously what's given Cedars a little bit of a break this weekend, qualifying on the pole here. And Harris really struggling, you know, he can't, I spoke to him through the week, he can't understand why he's dropped the pace at the moment. They really, massive curb action there coming out of the back chicane.
This is out of Marjoram too, under fire from Jesse Dixon in the Heyman Reese Commodore, and they've had a little bit of a change in behind-the-scenes team structure of that one, the Jesse Dixon crew, and they're just trying to get him to hustle along and do what they did to Tim Slade. Remember a few years ago, they took away from Tim Slade when he drove for Paul Morris all the data and all of the things that go with it. Just drive it without all those little complications. Get back to basics and really start to hustle along. He's qualified 20th for this race and been involved in the odd little bit of drama, but he's pushing his way forward here and staying out of trouble, which is a big tick around this place.
Oh, and it's not easy to get around this place and have a clean race and have a clean race car at the end. So they've done a great job so far. Still pretty tight up the front, though.
Yeah, David Cedars, though, is holding sway. He leads the way in this opening race of the weekend, the penultimate round of the Auto 1 V8 Utes on the Gold Coast. Back on the Gold Coast with the Auto 1 V8 Utes Series. It's race 1 of the weekend, and Chris Walton is making moves, and he's taking Ryle Harris with him. Stephen Johnson and Ali Ababa won't be liking that.
Absolutely not. That was a good move from Walton, really aggressive move. And that's where Ryle needs to be smart, you know. If that's the case, he doesn't need to be taking those risks. Let Walton do that and follow him through.
It's a very good strategy. Why not? You make it sound so easy.
Maybe he was just looking at that bit of paper in the middle of his steering wheel saying think.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe it says beer. I don't know.
That's for Sunday night. It's a bit too early.
Actually, Barber's got a problem. He's come into the pits here. I thought it looked really strange how he came off that back chicane. It was really doughy coming off there, so I don't know.
I reckon, have a look, loose bonnet. It doesn't look too loose, but it is loose, and it's lost a pin from the right front.
There's a mirror gone.
Someone's lost the mirror. I reckon it's Ryle Harris, because look at the passenger side. And no wonder he got a big move up the inside, got a move done on Walton, so picks up another spot.
It's up to 4th now.
Yeah, he's starting to chip away, but with the way that the points work in the Utes, really, it's only worth 1 point for each spot. When you get to the first 3 or 4, it's worth an extra couple. It's 35 for a race win, 33 for second, 31, 29, and then it's 1 point increments backwards. So you're not getting much for all your trouble. Look at Walton. He is the hard man of Utes. He really gets stuck in. He and Nathan Pretty had a bit of a drama at Sandown. He is forceful. Look at Fisher in the background, sideways, and then ends up driving it up the inside to stop Kim Jane from getting up the inside.
You can hear Fisher coming down there into the left-hander off the beach straight. Locked up, missed the apex, and was lucky not to go into that outside wall there.
And lucky not to wipe out 2 cars rather than 1. So Kim Jane, we saw him win 2 races in the last round at Bathurst. This is Harris, rare spares replay. Look for that mirror. There it goes.
Bang. And you can see Harris, he's actually a foot or so further in than Walton there. And when you're following that close, it is extremely hard to see these walls and extremely hard to see the contours and the boundaries of the track. So maybe just a little bit blindsided there behind Walton, and paid a mirror price for that.
And this is Jeremy Gray having a lose at the back chicane.
Look at the shock absorber under the left rear wheel. He's got a broken shocky there.
It's not going to work when it lands. Oh, this is messy. Really messy. He's a Ute veteran, Jeremy Gray, qualified 11th, and his nickname's Lost It. They've got to have a nickname in the Ute Series. This one's apt right about now.
See that left rear wheel just bouncing up and down with no control whatsoever. That's that broken rear shock absorber.
And that's Leighton Barker going back onto the road. So plenty of drama. It's just his second appearance in the series. He ran at Bathurst last year. This is on board with Cam Wilson, the Queenslander. He won the reverse grid race here last year, probably putting the most defensive driving effort I've ever seen in a Ute race. He used all the curbs, but he did get it home, and he's fighting here with Jesse Dixon for position 12. And Dixon's really moved forward. He started from 20th in that Heyman Reese Commodore.
Definitely on a charge, and his car looks, I don't want to put the mocker on him, very straight.
Careful. Adam Marjoram just behind in the Auto 1 car. Here's Harris, tap out Ford, car number 1. He won this round back in 2011 when he clean swept the weekend. This is his home track. This is the one. This is his pride.
He's loose.
Oh, he's loose in there. But this, Stevie, this is his pride and joy. This is his home round. He doesn't live far from this track. He prides himself on performing on this weekend. And there's only one round to go at Sydney Olympic Park. So if Cedar starts to get away, he's run out of time nearly to bring the championship back to him.
Yeah, but, you know, anything can happen. 2 street circuits left to go in the championship. Anything can happen. So I think it's still wide open. You know, there's only a handful of points in it at the moment, and you know, that can all change by a good quali from Harris and a bad quali from Cedars in the next round.
On board there with Craig Donis, Thirsty Camel Commodore. Of course, he's part of the
straight through the chicane.
Yeah, cut straight through there. But Donis is part of Shannon Supercar Showdown this year on 7 Mate, where everyone's competing for a testing contract with Ford Performance Racing under the tutelage of Mark Winterbottom and Will Davison. And Craig is right among it with a lot of drivers who are actually quite a bit younger but with less experience. He's a regular in the Ute Series. This is Cam Wilson in the go-karting Gold Coast car.
Looks like it's got a bit of smoke coming out the back of that. I've seen it the last couple of laps coming out of turn 13 there. Oh, a bit of a lock-up from both. But seems to be still running okay.
This guy's running okay. David Cedars, race leader, last lap. There's Pretty, there's McNally third, Harris is fourth, Walton, George Mediki's flying in this second half of this race. Remember, he runs in the Dunlop Series regularly, but is a former Ute regular, has had the odd guest drive here and there. He was the Auto 1 wildcard entrant here last year, so he knows his way around these cars pretty well.
He's caught up to the back of Walton as well. He's definitely got some pace towards the end of this race.
Love watching them ride those curbs, but Cedars has been on the podium here 2 of the last 3 years on the Gold Coast in the Ute Series. He is coming good at the right end of the year. He's got the right blend of speed and consistency. Nathan Pretty's the best Commodore driver in the championship, but he hasn't got an answer at the moment. David Cedars with 1 corner to go, and this is his.
Yeah, good race, and you know, clean pair of heels the whole day, you know, the whole race, I should say. Start to finish, got a good start. Never really was headed, to be honest. There was never anyone threatening him for the lead.
And he does it in style, so that's his 3rd race win of the season. He extends the margin in the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. David Cedars gets a win for Ford on the board on the Gold Coast, so that means that they've won 9 to Holden's 11 so far this year, and still a couple of races to go. We'll bring you another one of them tomorrow, and of course there's a last round at Sydney Olympic Park, but it's a win to David Cedars in the Utes, opening race of the weekend, and he'll cruise on down to the hairpin, back to the paddock. So he takes it clear of Nathan Pretty, then Reece McNally. Ryle Harris next from Chris Walton. George Mediki, Andrew Fisher, Kim Jane, Jeremy Gray, and Craig Donis rounded out the top 10 in race 1 of the V8 Utes. Round 7 of 8 for them in 2013, and Cedars extends his margin in the championship. They'll be back tomorrow for more racing here.